if you will not give alcohol to your child, then there is no way you should give excessive sugars to your child through these foods. Fructose is very sweet and it is a poison. Anyone who takes excess sugar is no different from an alcoholic. I pray you don't become resistant to insulin, because that is the gateway to all metabolic conditions. Wait, watch this video. Let me explain to you exactly how sugar damages your heart, your brain, your liver, and other parts of the body. Sugar is made up of glucose and fructose. Now, the poison here is the fructose. Fructose is very sweet and it is a poison. So for every serving of sugar you take, you increase your risk of death and disease by 4 to 30%. And so that is why for me, as a dietitian who is much concerned about the biochemistry, anyone who takes excess sugar is no different from an alcoholic, because the metabolism of fructose and alcohol is similar and they both cause similar damages. Now, how does this happen? Anytime we consume sugary food, the fructose in there cannot be directly used by the body, and so the body must try to metabolize it so that it can be used, and that work is done by the liver. And so when it is in normal amount, the liver is able to deal with it. Now, this process demands energy in the form of ATP from the liver cells. So when it is in excess, it means that the energy demand is going to go high. This will cause the depletion of ATP in the cells. Now, when there is depletion of the ATP, okay, it's going to generate a waste product we call uric acid. When this uric acid accumulates, it's going to lead to what we call gout, and it can also cause hypertension. Now, the second thing is that you see this excess fructose, the liver directly converts it to fat. So if you take excess fructose, it's just like you are taking fats. This excess fructose is going to trigger a process we call de novo lipogenesis, where the liver will just be making new fats. Now, these fats will get deposited around your internal organs, and this is what is going to cause your liver to become fatty. This is what will increase your visceral fat, and anytime your visceral fat is increased, your risk of heart disease goes very high. And so for most of you, your pot belly might not be because of the late night eating or the banku or the fufu or the kinky. It could be as a result of this sugary food. Now, the third damage it is doing to you is the fact that the fatty liver together with the high fructose is going to trigger the release of liver enzymes. And this liver enzyme will lead to what we call insulin resistance. I pray you don't become resistant to insulin, because that is the gateway to all metabolic conditions. Diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, dementia, obesity, and even cancers, infertility, depression, and others. And this is evident in literature. This insulin resistance is also going to lead to what we call leptin resistance, which will cause you to overeat and you keep on gaining weight. Now, the final thing is that fructose, just like other bad substances, is very addictive. Why? Because this fructose is going to trigger your reward channel, and when your reward channel is triggered, it releases what we call dopamine, and dopamine creates this sense of pleasure, and so you want to reinforce that behavior. That is why most of you keep on taking these sugars, because you are chasing pleasure. And for me, this is a worry, because despite all these adverse effects of sugars, it is what we still take every day in our foods, largely because most of our food products on the market have some form of added sugars in them, packaged in different forms, and we are consuming them more than we should. In 2023, an article was published in the British Medical Journal where it looked at sugars in our health. Okay, it was an umbrella review of existing meta-analysis. All these damages we are talking about, or harmful effects, were reported in this study, and so they concluded by saying that sugar is indeed harmful, and so even if you take, you should take less than 26 grams per day. And for those of us who take the bottle sugar sweetened beverages, we are supposed to take maximum of one bottle between 12 and 355 ml per week. You You see, so if I look at the trend of our eating habit and the data available, I get scared. Why? Because the problem really is not today. It's 5 years time, 10 years, 15 years. That is when we will start recording high cases of chronic conditions, and this is going to burden our healthcare system. America is already struggling with this chronic condition, and it is not because of the gluttony and so on. It's largely due to this sugary foods on their market. That is why this is a public health issue we all need to talk about every day and consistently, so that we will create awareness about the harmful effect of sugars. Because if you will not give alcohol to your child, then there is no way you should give excessive sugars to your child through these foods. You must create that awareness. That is why we also need the government on board to start a nationwide campaign about the harmful effect of these sugary foods, so that we become aware as citizens. One will say that, well, after all, food consumption is a personal choice. But that is not entirely true, because when you look at the factors, one major factor that drives our choice of food is accessibility and selectivity. And if you look around, these products are easily accessible, they are less expensive, they are always on our screens. They have good things that attract people to buy. And all these are external factors that we can't really blame the individuals. And so that is why we must do the education, so that at least we the individuals will be aware, and then we'll control ourselves. Because without the right information, we cannot make a change. So to ask the consumers, let's be careful. We must always remember that it is the bad component of the food that always make it addictive. So let's be careful. Let's learn how to read food labels. If you are buying a food product and the first ingredient you see sugar listed as part of the first three, then you should be careful, because chances are that it's very high in sugar, because the ingredients are listed in descending order based on how much has been used. So let's be aware. Let's also create the awareness together. Let's educate our friends, our families, so that together as citizens and as nation builders, we sanitize the environment in such a way that it limits the consumption of this product, and this is going to contribute to the quality of health as individuals. And so we need to be very careful. Hi, thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Dietitian Utozi. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all other social media platforms at Dietitian Utozi for more videos. You can equally support us by sharing our videos to family and friends.